Hey guys, so we were just talking about some of the optimal build orders, not building simultaneously sometimes, trying to make sure that the resources are accurately pulled together to the right place. So this video is going to be more about the meat and potatoes, giving you the optimal build order without talking about all the technicalities or the bugs or whatever you want to call that carrier interplay between upgrading a sector and a building, those types of things. So if you do want to just see a solid build order for the elf opener, one that has been inspired from other elf players as well as myself doing my own little spin on it, then feel free to take a look at this one. It's going to be a defensive macro opener here. I put a lot of energy and thought into this build here, and it's going to be, I think, a pretty good one for beginners to learn that are just coming to the game here. So definitely take a look at this. Here we go. I'm going to be dropping the hunting cabin down and 3 woodcutters here right away. Grabbing a hero from the Godstone and getting a guardian from your sanctum.
Say the word. There.
We'll be doing a separate video on hotkeys later on. So this video, or this build order rather, is going to be focused on, again, defensive macro. Is going to be more about you teching up safely and getting enough tier 1 units out to defend any early aggression from your opponent.
Ellen guides my steps.
We're going to do a separate video on the skills later on. We're not going to be worried about that right now.
They won't hear us coming. What do you require?
Building completed.
Okay.
Don't we have workers?
So we're going to be paying special attention mostly to our wood to food ratio and looking at that balance. We're just going to hit the upgrade Shrine of Growth around 55 seconds here. It's going to vary a little bit depending on the map you're on. So depending on the map you're on, these timers will slightly differentiate. It's not a big deal.
The battle goes on.
That's just the nature of the map design.
Don't we have
But you'll get the idea with how to put down the buildings in the right order. That much will ideally stay the same. And this will hopefully work for most of the matchups, so you can just rely on it. So once this is finished here, which will be good 30 seconds more or so, we're going to be putting down a hunting cabin as our first building in this sector.
We've expanded our borders.
So we're starting off with a hunting cabin.
The battle goes on, if we must.
Now the hunting cabin costs wood only. Which means 2 things. One, it's not going to take away any food, and it's going to leave us with a pretty heavy food deficit, actually. So that we can start getting our guardian now, around 2 minutes. So we can drop this hunting cabin now.
We need to gather more wood, Scryer.
As you can see, it only takes up the food. Excuse me, it only takes up the wood, not the food, and our food is being taken from the guardian themselves.
Ellen guides my steps.
While this is going on, we're going to be preparing to get the Shrine of Growth, which is going to cost 20 wood and 10 food. As you can see, I'll probably hit 20 food, and I'll hit 20 wood when my food is just nearly approaching 10. Maybe I'll be at 6 or so. I'll give you the deficit counter, so you can start seeing what they look like. -8 and 1 here. So a little bit slow on food,
Building completed.
but it'll catch up. It won't be that bad. Here, what we're going to be doing is dropping a woodcutter down here. Now we have the wood coming in. We're going to drop that woodcutter.
We need to gather more wood, Scryer.
So we have a hunting cabin and a woodcutter now, going down around 3 minutes.
The outpost has been built. We've expanded our borders.
Just moving around, taking some sectors here. Okay. We're gonna dedicate another guardian here
Scryer,
around
our granaries
3
are
minutes,
almost empty.
3:30.
We need more food.
So we're adding our
What do
guardian
you
count
require? Don't we have workers?
while building these structures and getting ourselves to the next
The
20 and
outpost has
10
been built.
ratio.
We've expanded our borders.
Your breathing will give us a
Here we're gonna upgrade another sector.
Scryer, our granaries
You
are
can see that
almost
these
empty.
are
We
basically
need more food.
leveled up with each other pretty well. They're pretty synced. The wood and the food ratio is not too different from each other. At the same time, we're going to be getting another
Building
guardian
completed.
around 4 minutes.
Yes.
So now we're going to have a bunch of guardians out here. which is pretty good.
Ellen guides my steps.
We're going to have 4 guardians by 4 minutes-ish. So we need a stonecutter, so we're going to be dropping that in this sector here. We're going to be doing the 3 woodcutter, 3 stonecutter build. This sector has 2 idle workers. This is where we're going to put our grove. So the grove is going to go down here as well. Once we have that stonecutter squared away, already starting its build, the grove is going to go down. So now we've got grove and the sanctum. We're going to have some additional resources here for another guardian. Let me grab that. And that's going to be our last guardian from the sanctum for a while.
The battle goes on.
After this, we're going to go into the increased workforce, and we're going to be looking to go into Tech 2. So I can queue this up now. Increased workforce kind of levels out my resources once again. 14, 10, 6, 16. Not too crazy. 3 guys in the woodcutter, 3 guys in the stonecutter. Helps get me some additional resources closer to that T2 requirement. The grove here should be done. Yes, it is. I'm queuing up some additional guardians to use this food supply. And any excess wood here, I'm going to be dropping another structure here. I'm going to be dropping a hunting cabin in this sector.
Yes, almost there. It will only take a second.
And I'm looking pretty good. I've got 3 sectors so far. And I'm going to be finishing, when this is nearly finished with the workforce, I'm queuing up more guardians, by the way. When this is nearly finished, I'm going to have the opportunity to go into the sanctum. So around 80%, I'd say, depending on how quickly you put them in the stonecutter. Around 80%, you're going to have the resources to click on this button. And it's going to be it's going to sync up nicely. I also like to put down an additional grove.
Building completed.
Just so I can have some constant production going pretty nicely here. Alright, so we see that our research here, again, about finished. We're expecting around 20 stone. Hopefully that's it coming now. Here it comes. Hit that button. There it is. Tech 2's on the way. Around 640. Which is still a pretty good time.
Yes.
It's not as super fast as some of the 5-minute ones. But we do come out here with 7 guardians around 7 minutes. And our hero, which is going to be pretty safe against some other aggression as well. So this is I think this is pretty solid. This gives you an opportunity to have some production. We're going to be queuing some guardians out of double grove plus our sanctum if we need to. But I do keep the sanctum for Tech 2, so that's going to be time you cannot produce the guardians out of. Plus we have some additional workforce here, so as your resources, as wood gets higher, you can say, okay, I'm going to go into a farm. I'm going to go into a grove. I actually like the grove personally, so I add another grove as my resources are higher than 20 here. So it wasn't 100% to the T on this one. I'm trying to explain it a little bit here and there, but you kind of get the general idea. We're going to be going into the hunting cabin. After that, we're going to be going into the woodcutter. Then we're going to be going into the stonecutter. After that, we're going to be dropping our grove down. We're going to be trying to get as close to 0 with our guardians as possible. It's a little bit tricky because you kind of need to balance the guardians cost and the expansion cost, which does cost some food. Adding a 3rd sector here and getting the hunting cabin and grove as well. The groves kind of inhabit both the hunting cabins because I'm already getting food here. I have enough wood, and there's only 2 idle workers here for that grove. Now I have 0 idle workers, which feels pretty efficient going into this. You don't really need to worry about too much about stone. Having 1 stonecutter with 3 does feel pretty ideal. Does feel pretty nice here. Stone's not really your commodity resource. Wood is your commodity resource. And once you hit T2, you're going to make sure, since we're at T2 now, you're going to want to make sure that you have this sector here, an iron sector, and an iron sector here. These should be upgraded while you are teching up to T2. So ideally this would be finished, this would be taken and finished and upgraded. You're going to be dropping 100 wood into iron mines. So 25, 50, and then down here as well, 75, 100. So you're going to have 4 iron mines with 2 level 1 sectors. That's going to give you 150% efficiency on your iron mines. One's going to have 4 people in it, the other is going to have 2 people in it, and same thing down here. The total of that is going to amount to 300% efficiency, which does seem pretty good for the cost. The other way that I was doing it was having 2 sectors upgraded to level 2 while also mining other things here, and I was only able to achieve 275% efficiency. Yeah. So 300%, slightly better.
It will be done.
So 2 tier 1 sectors is better than 2 tier 2 sectors if they already are having other buildings here and doing things. And that's the build order. I won't go too much more into the mid game. After that, you're going to be, of course, responding to what your opponent is doing, whether it's T1 aggression or pumping out your T2 units, things of that nature. We're going to do it one more time, just so we can. We're going to be quiet here, and we're going to do another build, just so I can mentally get the timings down as well, without talking and making myself a little bit distracted to place the buildings on time. And you can see it one more time.
Say the word. There. Huh?
Ellen blesses us with her reigns. A good omen.
Say the word. There. Ellen guides my steps. What do you require? Don't we have workers for this?
Building completed.
Don't we have workers for this? Ellen guides my steps.
Building completed. The outpost has been built. We've expanded our borders.
The battle goes on.
Scryer?
Don't we have workers for this?
The outpost has been built. We've expanded our borders.
Yes, we should pick up the pace. A sound strategy. Ellen guides my steps. Understood.
We need to gather more wood, Scryer.
We'll find them.
Give the word.
Ellen guides my steps. Say the word.
Our heroes grew stronger.
The battle goes on. Don't we have workers for this? Yes. Don't we have workers for this? Ellen guides my steps.
The outpost has been built. We've expanded our borders.
What do you require? Your time has come. The battle goes on.
Scryer, our granaries are almost empty. We need more food.
A sound strategy.
We lead the charge.
What do you require? Yes?
Attack!
We need to gather more wood, Scryer.
The battle goes on. Don't we have workers for this?
The outpost has been built. We've expanded our borders.
Yes?
Ellen guides my steps. If we must.
We need to gather more wood, Scryer.
do you
Let the
require?
taskmaster know if you have work for us.
The battle goes on.
Tavrathwayan! Give the word.
Yes. It will be done.
We need to gather more wood, Scryer.
Don't we have workers for this?
The outpost has been built. We've expanded our borders.
What do you require?
Scryer?
The battle goes on.
Well then.
Building completed.
Let us proceed.
Give the word.
Ellen guides my steps.
We need to gather more wood, Scryer.
What do you require? The battle goes on.
Yes?
Yes? What do you require?
We will be swift.
Building completed.
Give the word.
Ellen guides my steps.
Damn it. This is more complicated.
The
Scryer?
battle goes on.
Yes?
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 Building completed.
Alright, and we just produce guardians with our excess food. And we wait for T2. We're going to expand here as well, these two sectors. So
We
have
need to gather more wood, Scryer.
2 sectors for iron, 2 level 1 sectors. So when T2 hits, we're going to stockpile 100 wood and build our iron sectors. We're just gonna be spamming guardians for a while now because it's gonna take some time, a couple minutes for our iron to kick in to make anything else. All we can produce anyway is our guardians.
Scryer, our granaries are almost empty.
So we're just
We
here
need more food.
making guardians.
What do you require?
So we're gonna have a pretty healthy guardian count while we do make that T2 transition around 6:30, 6:45, depending on how the build order kind of goes, and you're at the mercy of sometimes of. Make sure you click that third guy in stone, and things like that. We're finishing it off here with 2 groves,
Scryer, our granaries are almost empty. We need more food.
and we're gonna have ourselves a nice transition. When we hit that T2, we're gonna have a good amount of wood. We might not have 100 right away, of course. We might just be sitting around almost 50. That's fine because you can only build 1 building at a time. Anyways, I'm getting the sectors taken care of. So we get these buildings taken care of, and build 1 iron mine in each sector. Then you can double up after. We see we have 50 wood. It wasn't that hard to stockpile that. Ready to get our iron mines now. And these guys will slowly increase their worker count, which is fine.
Ellen guides my steps. We should pick up the pace.
Keep making guardians with our excess food.
The battle goes on.
And from here, we can choose to make either another grove or refinery, depending on how you like to play.
Complicated than I thought.
Eventually, you're gonna want to have a third grove, so it's not a bad idea to have that. You can also go into the increased workforce. Here, you can kind of play it how you like to play. for more workers, so that you can do a farm here eventually, which is going to be good for food sustain as this food runs out. We could get the farm a little bit later, in my opinion. So I do like to get the grove here and grab my third grove to help spend my food while adding the. Before I go to the refinery, I like to make sure that my iron is taken care of.
We need to gather more wood, Scryer.
Look for that check mark. Even though we're at 5 or 7 here, but I'll wait for
Building
the carriers
completed.
to come over here and give me the go ahead that they've carried it sufficiently enough. Keep queuing up some guardians so that we're spending our food. They're good, so we're ready to build the last iron mine.
We need to gather more wood, Scryer.
And that's basically it. I think this is a pretty good build order. It might deviate a little bit here and there from when you play or when you watch the video and give it a try, but this is kind of the premise here.
You know the way, right?
Approximately something like this.
We will be swift.
I think it's pretty strong. I think it's safe, mostly safe. You might have to do some kiting, maybe keep these guys in bow stance. Don't really want to fight other tier 1 armies with the Guardians, I feel. You kind of want to keep them in bow stance and maybe do some kiting with the Druid, do some zoning out, and maybe play defensively with your own structures.
It's Ellen's bread.
But at least you're going to have
Building
some
completed.
tier 1 to help you stay alive until your tier 2 units do trickle out. As you can see, the iron is coming in now, so we can start getting our
We should gather more
wardens
iron.
and a protector or two for that aura, which is going to help even our tier 1 units be tankier, which is very important. The protector is gonna probably the MVP, honestly. Wardens are nice, they do a lot of damage, but the protector is really a king.
Building completed.
Take a second.
And that's all I'm going to show you. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you get an idea for how I do it in Elf Opener here. More of a defensive macro-oriented play to keep me alive, do a little bit of creeping, keep me alive, and focus on getting to tier 2. Of course, you should be doing more creeping around the map here.
Building
You should already be
completed.
creeping this. You should have probably crept this already as well. This isn't really about a comprehensive creeping guide or picking out the spells. As you can see, we didn't pick any spells. It's more about the macro here. I'm explaining this a little bit, getting a feel for how we set these things out. Thanks for watching this. I'll see you next time.